fucking solder's broken. Back to my nemesis, soldering. I'll see if I can get this quickly connected and hopefully it doesn't take me the whole morning, and then we can get this last light fitted in. Okay, moment of truth. Time to see if I can get this in without destroying the solder again. And yes, 2, 3, 4. That was actually nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. It only took me 5 minutes to solder that thing, and then really quick to get it in. I kind of had this thing in my head thinking I'm going to spend the whole morning battling it, but yeah, got that in nice and easy. Next up is kind of going to be connecting the other wires. We've got various wires poking out here for our fridge and water pump, etc. There's also another light in here that needs to be connected in. I need to tidy this up and get this fuse box mounted up inside here. I am beginning to see that it might be difficult to fit that inside this box, so I may have to take that down, just this front plate. It doesn't feel as nice testing the wiring when it's light. You don't get the full boom, you know, bright up dramatic feel. So I'll get all those in, but I might actually wait for evening to give a proper look at them all. I'll cut a hole in this end piece to pass all these wires through, mount the fuse box in there, and I will just connect up the various other wires to the relevant points. It's really hard to film up here, especially with this carpet. It's like blackout in there. It's really hard to see with your own eyes. So yeah, I won't bother trying to film it. You helping with the wiring? Yes. Right, that's back in there. I'm going to leave that down for 1 more minute just because I need to potentially get in there to fit a plug socket. I'm just coming over here to fit the dimmer switch for the light that's hidden behind this panel here. So the wire comes out of the light behind the wall here, down under the bed, and comes out to here. This one then goes all the way whoosh, back over to the top corner there and into the fuse box. I've then got the same dimmer switch that we've got fitted in the other van, so I just need to connect up the live wires and then the ones that go to the light, and then that one should hopefully be working as well. Oh, that looks really nice.
Pretty.
Is that what you were expecting?
Yes. Wow, look at that.
Pleased with that?
Very pleased with that.
So we've got one more plug socket to go in on this wall. Didn't actually install it earlier. I'm not sure why. Sometimes this stuff escapes me. I'm gonna put this in now. It's just a single, mainly just to power our internet router, but there's also a USB and a USB-C just for any extra charging that wants to happen in the cupboard, maybe batteries, stuff like that. I'll measure this up and get that mounted up neatly there, and then we can start putting this back together and tidying it up so that Sarah can get on with the tiling this afternoon. That's all working, everything's fitted back together again. You're just going to paint this door, aren't you, before it goes back up? And then I need to do a bit of a tidy up in here because it's a state. Electrics always make such a mess.
They do.
I'm going to move on to our inverter sort of area now that all the 12 volts done. That's going to be located underneath the driver's seat when the tool arrives, so I can get these seats switched over. But what I'm going to do in advance is prep all the plugs, get them ready to go. Our inverter's got one plug socket coming out of it, and in the last van we kind of daisy chained off of all the plug sockets into the next one. In this van here, just to make things easier and more maintainable in the future, I've got power cables coming all the way through to here, and I'm actually just going to fit a 4-way, like here's a big surge protected like 13 amp extender and a load of plug sockets. So I'm just going to fit all that down here and then hide it under the step so it's all nice and neat. Just put all those plugs on, so I'm gonna mount this up in here, which will then have all of these plugged into. I will then cut this cable shorter so it just stretches from here into where the inverter is and there's not loads of excess. Right, so I've just got that all finished up installed, got that plug socket back on. Sarah's out here doing some more painting.
Well, dipping in this instance.
Yeah, coating. This is gonna be our curtain rail. That door, these are just part of the curtain rail. So the massive Torx bit to get those front seats out has now arrived, but that's going to be quite a big job and I don't really want to be doing that into the dark. I'm going to instead start just trying to fix up any fixings in here. There's actually a lot of little things to do. There's some door catches for the door under the bed. There's a little catch to keep this door closed. I've got all the handles to go on these. Maybe I can work on getting some of the shelves up. So I'll just have a bit of an evening. Now that we've got light in here, I could actually spend the evening just plowing through some of the miscellaneous little jobs that all need sorting inside. To finish off this door, we've got a sort of classic country latch. Gonna mount that just there. It's just gonna be a little turn catch. It'll tie nicely with the black hinges, really finish this off well. We've been mulling over this rattan effect in this little pocket here for the last few days, and I think we're gonna partially keep it. I'm just gonna do just the back wall and leave the side walls just as the plain white wood, which I think will look better. It looks a little bit messy having it all the way in, and it will be hard to get a nice fit. So I'll try cutting that out to fit now and then just gluing it in. Didn't really think this through. I'm just gonna have to stand here for a bit now until that glue starts to dry. Perfect. Okay, that's in. Works really nicely. That door now isn't going to bang around or move when we're in transit. Another thing in this busy evening of build, and I'm just going to work on this shelf that's going to sit in here just above our heads. Got these brackets for it here, which are quite nice, sort of black metal brackets. They kind of tie in with the black metal theme we've got for some of our fixings. They'll look really nice and decent, but to get it to fit flush, I'm going to have to cut an indentation out of this wood. I think that's going to be really hard because this is very solid wood. It's not flaky like pine or anything. I'm going to take my time with it. I've drawn around these so I know where I need to cut out, and it's only about 2 mil deep, so it shouldn't be too difficult if it goes well. Nice. Oh, that's looking really good. Going to be perfect for a little spice rack. Awesome. Still need to get the shelf in here, but we're going to wait for Sarah to finish off the grouting to do that. Back here's looking really nice. Perfect little shelf there to put maybe a plant, projector. So pleased with the progress today. We're so close to being able to go away. And yeah, I just can't wait to get things finished. Tomorrow hopefully is going to be a big one. It's time to tackle the seats, inverter and the table. So yeah, wish me luck. So I've been and taken both of the chairs out of the old van, and now I'm going to try and take the chairs out of this one to get these switched over, or first at least give me access down here to finish off the electrics. Both of these chairs here that we've got have got swivel bases on them, so they will spin around and give us so much more room in the van, when you're facing back this way. Now, I think the base for this chair will work with the chair. I don't think I need to take that base out and switch that over, but the base for this chair is obviously a double. So I need to take this out completely and switch this with the one that I've just taken off the old van. Now there's two massive Torx bolts hidden away down in here that are quite hard to get to. You can just about get in with an extender and a socket set. On the front there is just an 18mm socket. That's a little bit easier to get into, but I don't think you need to take these all of the way off. I think you only need to loosen the rear ones and then they'll slide out. Actually, on second thought, I will take out the other one fully, the other side. It looks like the way that they attach into the chassis is just ever so slightly different. They both do the same job, it's just whether the chair slides off forwards or backwards, and I think it would be nice to keep them at least consistent between the two chairs rather than have two different fitting types. As it happens, the handbrake actually mounts directly onto this front seat, so I have had to quickly disconnect that, so I'm going to get this one back in and then we can still fit the inverter underneath here, just this will be in place and it will mean that the van's not going to roll away. Okay, so there is awkward job of the day done. Hopefully that's the most awkward job. I'm just going to disconnect these various batteries, drop those into this place here. We will then box in around this chair at a later date and then also fit our DC to DC charger that charges these batteries when the engine's running. That's going to be fitted to the front here as well. So I wondered in the old van why the floor had been cut completely out down to the metal, and I guess it's just to give an extra bit of clearance for these batteries. I'll draw around the bottom of them and then we'll cut that hole in the floor, and that actually should stop them sliding around a bit as well. With that system put in there underneath the seat, I can move on to getting the inverter installed. This is a Victron Energy 12 by 800 inverter. And this converts the 12 watt power into a nice 230 volt power for all our plug sockets. We've actually had this in the old van way back since like the very start. So this is kind of like 6 years old, but it's served us really well and we find it's actually all we need. I basically sat down and worked out what the draw is for laptops to be charged, camera batteries, kind of everything we'd be doing, and worked out that this is all we need. We don't want to go overkill and get something that's just going to drain more power, be less efficient. We may as well get the thing that is right for the job. We're going to get this installed underneath this seat. There was a wooden plate that I made last time that this just sat on, just to help give it a bit more stability. I'll see if that fits, maybe I'll have to cut something else. And then we'll start connecting the wires from this to these batteries and then into the plugs down here that we are going to then power the rest of the van with. I mentioned yesterday about this plug socket here outlet, so I'm just going to cut this cable down, run it through here and just plug it into there neatly. Nice, that's nice and tidy, nice and neat. Oh, my legs. So to connect the battery and the inverter, we've got this, which is going to run from the positive. That's then going to run all the way along the bottom here. This has then got an inline breaker, off and on. That's going to be mounted down inside here. And then the live end of this, I just need to put into the back of the inverter. Now, a negative cable is going to also run from the battery all the way around here and into the negative terminal on the back of the inverter. But I did notice when taking this out that there's a little bit of damage to this cable where it's worn through the outer sheath. So got one of those on order. It'll be arriving within the next 2 hours. So I will come back to this very shortly. There's a few other wires and bits I can go and get from the other van. Not going to fit the heater just yet, but I'm going to run and get the wiring for the heater, lay that underneath the step and into the box, so that we can then get the step back on and then the table on as well.
Okay, so that is the Grout mixed. I think it should be enough. We'll see. I think that's the correct consistency. Kind of like a cake batter, but sticks. I saw a few tutorials where they did it with sponges, and basically it said it's because they can get into the creases better. So I've got one sponge that I'm going to use for the grout, and I've got another sponge that I'm going to use to clean, and I've got endless tissue in case I mess up. So yeah, wish me luck, because I've never done this before. So I ended up ditching the sponges because they were too big and I just couldn't work with them. So I asked Jack to cut them up into little pieces, and this gave me much better control over the sponges. I also ditched them entirely just to use these, and actually I did prefer this to the sponge, so I'm glad my dad had these. Yeah, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm not good with mess. I tend to freak out because I feel like I'm making mistakes, and I don't know, it's like something I've dealt with as a kid. Like, I was never allowed to go at the lines or make a mess, or I don't know. So it's now like embedded in my head that mess means it's bad, and I had to just get over that and just grout the whole thing and just trust that it will clean off. I think I've done it. I mean, it's still wet, and I can still see some of the grout on it, so I just keep cleaning it, but then I keep swiping more grout onto it, so I need to just chill and let it settle a bit more. But yeah, I think I did it. But it's such a mess in here. I also just want to touch on the fact that I know we said we were going to tile along here. Yeah, we decided not to do that. One, because I realised it's actually really difficult. But two, which is the real reason, we basically thought that looked really nice as it was. So we decided to go against it, and truthfully, if we want to tile it in the future, we can, but we really like it like this.
Oh, it took me so long to get out the wiring for the diesel heater that Sarah's done the tiles, cleaned up. These look great. Really nice to get this sort of area moved on, because then we can start to finish this area off. It's now properly dark as well. I've spent hours underneath the van. I ended up having to completely remove the diesel heater, which we weren't planning on fitting for another week or two. We were going to go away for a little test drive first. But we want to get the wiring in underneath here nice and neat, and that's where I need to get out. But I had to completely destroy the old van to get all that wiring out. It was all hidden away neatly. So that's that cable we're waiting to arrive, just replacing the one that was there before. Now I'm going to run this from negative on this battery through the inline fuse we've got here that comes down along here and then into the back of the inverter. And there's actually one more thing I forgot to mention earlier, which I've just taken out of the old van. It's just another fuse. This one is a 30 amp trip fuse, and it runs between the inverter and these plugs, so I need to put this in here somewhere. I'll probably mount it down here alongside the plug here. So this all connected. This is then wired here through various different fuses and breakers. Make sure that one is on, and all I need to do now is turn the inverter on, and we should be live. Whew, we're working. I didn't expect it to go badly, but it's just nice that it worked and I don't have to spend time working out what went wrong. So that didn't get done today as much as I really thought I would do, but tomorrow should be a good one. Right, we've got one final thing to complete our electric setup. What this does is it takes power from the engine and the alternator when the engine is running and uses it to charge these batteries. We actually find that even just driving for half an hour, 45 minutes a day is usually enough just to sustain everything we use in a day. It takes about 4 or 5 hours to charge both of these batteries from the flat, so it's actually quite a quick charger. This is a 40 amp one. So these two cables here with an inline fuse, they go straight onto the battery terminals, and then the other end here has 2 wires that go into the battery. To trigger this to start charging so it doesn't just drain the car battery fully, there is a small like trigger that runs on the cigarette lighter. So I will have to take off this panel here. I'll steal the wiring from this cigarette lighter, and basically that means that when the ignition is turned to position 2, this starts working. The other thing I'm going to do whilst I've got this off is to put in our 12-volt cable to run the fridge. Hi Nix. Is to put in our 12-volt cable to run the fridge, which we've got running also on the cigarette lighter, just so that it only runs when we're driving. With being in Scotland and it being a cold box anyway, we find that that's enough to keep everything in there at quite a low temperature, and it doesn't drain our batteries more than it needs to. This is currently mounted onto a bit of wood that fits in the front of this seat, so I'll mount that the same just in here, get that connected up, and then we can actually start tidying and putting the seats in. Just this conduit cable, this wiring loom. Try and get this underneath the floor here just to help protect these wires from being crushed, because obviously it's underneath the floor. Positive sitting just here on the positive terminal, and the negative I'm going to secure onto this bolt just here. Then they're connected up. Can put this in, but this still isn't actually talking to the batteries or charging it at all, even if the engine was running, because we haven't connected up that wire to the cigarette lighter yet. So that's the next thing after this. This isn't actually as hard as you think it might be. It's quite actually easy to get into these cigarette lighters. Just have to take out one screw that's in the bottom of the cup holder here. And then this kind of just pulls off with a little bit of just manipulation. And there we go. But what I'll do here is I will splice in those 2 wires, which I first need to feed up behind this here. This blank in here has already got the connector harness wired in, so I'm going to use this because I assume that this is powered. Yeah, that's horribly sticky. Right, and what we've got in here is 3 wires. One looks probably just to be illuminating this, which is the thin one. We've got a grey and a red, which is going to be our live, a black that's going to be the negative. So what I need to do is just snip those there. For our live wire, I'm going to use a 3-way Waco clip, because this needs to be feeding to both the fridge and to the inverter charger. So pop that in there. But our negative only needs to run back for the fridge, so I'll just use a double Waco for the negative. Job done. Now it's onto the one that's going to be for the battery charger. So pull that all the way through. Now I've left this one really long because this one is going to actually run all the way over to just by the steering wheel here, just so that I've got options for a switch to disable it if I want to. Put the positive in, and now that one also ready to go. And what I have to fit this to is just a very, very simple just on-off switch. So I will leave that just over there for now, but that's done and ready to go. Now there's really nothing else left to do on this. That is the wiring system fully in place. I will quickly put the cover back on the battery, and then it's going to be a very big tidy up set. Oh, actually one more thing. Before I can say we're done with the wiring, I need to actually connect up that cigarette lighter to the fridge. Here's the plug that goes into the back of the fridge. This is just a little cigarette lighter point bought online. Awesome, that's now working. Put that in there. You can get tucked all the way back underneath. You'd have thought if I'd have spent 3 hours trying to get this out of the old van yesterday, I would have remembered that I need to install it in this van.
Seriously?
I know, right?
Oh my god.
This isn't
the old van for that.
Yeah, this is just the wiring for the diesel heater. This end here is the bit that goes to the battery. We've got a positive and a negative terminal there. Those are going to sit just in here for now because I'm not actually fitting this yet. But what we do want to do is have this cable running neatly down and into this box here. I want to get this wiring in so that then we can put this step back down on top and close all this off for good. So these are our seats from the other van with the swivel base on. Nix has torn these to shreds. They actually weren't in bad condition before we got the camper. These are secured by little bolts to just screw this down into the sliding runners for the chair. We'll work on getting this one in and we'll switch over and do the passenger. We've got this table leg, this has come off the old van, and that's going to be sitting through here. So the first job we need to do is cut a hole in the floor. Some rough measurements for where we want this. It doesn't really matter too much where this leg goes, as long as it's not in our way. My phone died recording that, but we've got this stuck down now. I've just used that spray glue again. Now we just need to find the hole, which is there, cut through this floor. So to fit this into the wall, we're going to use these quite big brackets. These are what we've had in the old van for the longest time, and we found that between having the table mounted to the leg and then being bolted into the wall like this, it's super secure, and we've had no wobble, we've had no issues with it loosening or anything like that. So we're going to do exactly the same with this. We're going to secure this in here with some screws, and then when we put this on top of here, screw straight into this, and it'll just keep it all nice and tight together. Oh, that looks so good. So that's fixed in down here on the floor, in the wall at the back there, and then there too. No wob, no flex, solid table, super good effort. Big progress the last few days, and look how close to finish we are. I think we might actually be able to go away and sleep in the van tonight for the first time.
You got it?
Yep.
Chaos.
There's a couple of things we've still got to do, tidy up a little bit. I'm going to try and just put the hob in here just so that it's secured and we've not got a hole in there. You could probably get the bedding in, get the sheet, and yeah, and we can actually head away and spend the first night in it. I'm excited. So this is our hob all ready to go in. Got the wire that runs down inside there for the plug we installed, and that will just sit in the top there nicely. What came with this was the brackets we need to fit it. There's this sort of seal that needs to sit underneath here I need to cut and fit. And there's actually some alternative jets that I will probably need to change, as I think this is set up for butane and we're running propane. Some of that stuff I'll wait for tomorrow to do. For now I'm just kind of going to get it in place so that we are able to go away tonight and not have a big hole in the counter.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Jim.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this is so comfy. This bed is really comfy. Did you sleep really well?
Really well.
I slept really well. This bed is nice.
Yeah.
I like this new mattress a lot.
We've just spent our first night away in the van.
Testing.
It feels kind of surreal. In so many ways it's just like nothing's changed, but then it's also all new and shiny and fresh.
Yeah, it's weird. It's going to take me a while to get used to the sound difference.
Yeah, the sound's probably the strangest thing.
Yeah.
'Cause the old one is so textile, everything's carpet pretty much, and
So
there's
it
so
just
much fabric.
Absorbs.
Yeah, whereas this one's got a little bit more dryness to it, like a bit more echo and sharpness. That will change as we start putting in curtains and a few other things to help bounce that sound around, but
Yeah, need more fabric.
yeah, but really pleased. It has given us a bit of a second rush of like burn to get away though, so kind of all systems go, trying to finish everything off. For me today is quite a big list. I've got to make this work, that being the sink and the hob. Whenever we drive and go around corners, all the drawers slide open. I have no idea how I'm going to fix those because I don't know if there's enough room for catches down the side.
What?
Yeah. And then also this wire is a bit icky at the moment, so we need to tidy that up and make sure that's away and safe. It's going to be a busy day. Going to try and crack on with loads of stuff. So let's get into it, I guess. So I'm basically going to try and make this small tunnel here, maybe out of a combination of this wood and this for thickness, just to make sure there's enough depth for the wires. And then there'll be a box on the top here which will be slightly raised outwards and we'll have a front plate on, but will be surrounded by wood inside. I'm not entirely sure exactly how this is going to happen. I'm just going to have to get started and hope it works out. So that box is ready to go and be dried. There is a small channel running down the back for wires, and that will be mounted to the wall. This will be mounted on top of there, and that will have the dial in for the light switch. I need to cut some wood that's going to be this thick to line up with that. I've just been recording the complete wrong bit. I've been recording all the moments between me drilling and then none of the bits of me actually drilling. As you can see here, we've got that hole cut through the wall, 2 other little eyes for the back of this to go through. That literally just pushes in there now. And then around this side, enough room for that back box on the light switch down here, and then we'll tidy up all the cables underneath. Got to wait for all that stuff to dry now, so I'll quickly get the hoover out, hoover up in here. In the meantime, I'll get all the drawers out and I'll move on to this big task of this area, which is probably going to be the next couple of hours. There's the end for that gas pipe there, so I need to get this pipe up and into there neatly, secure that with some thread tape, and then I'll move on to the water system. Right, that is that in and secure. I'm hoping, I think it will catch the drawer, so I might have to move that a little bit. Anyway, the next job, we need to switch these jets here for LPG, because these are currently set up to natural gas. You need to switch these over with these ones here, and then we need to reduce the flow rate in there. Right, so that's connected up. I still need to reduce the flow rate on this, but to do that, we need to have the gas on. So I'm going to go in the back, connect the gas bottle up, and give this a test. So this bottle's come out of the old van. We've used Cali gas for a long time. We did have flow gas at one point, but we found that Cali gas is the most widely available in the UK, so that's what we've gone for and we've stuck with since. Just need to connect this up into there. And the only thing to remember is that this is, for some reason, thread the opposite way. No idea why, it's just the case with these bottles. So it is righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. So as you can see, that's absolutely blazing at the moment, and that's because it's set up to be putting through a different gas type. So what I need to do is take that off, and then with the world's smallest, skinniest little screwdriver, put that down inside this jet, and hopefully be able to turn the dial in there down. Oh, is it not long enough? I had an absolute nightmare with the old van trying to find a screwdriver that fit in here that was long enough. I'll have to order a new screwdriver and wait for it to arrive. In the meantime, whilst it's daylight, I'm going to move on and start trying to fit the water tank stuff, all the hoses, the sink, the tap, the drain, all of that stuff, because that needs doing as well. This is also going to be difficult to film and to show you what's going on, but here is the drain from the sink. I'll have to connect that to the drain hose that needs to come up through the floor and then connect it all down underneath. I'll probably just do this and then show you the results, because it's going to be a nightmare to film and awkward to do anyway. And I need to then connect up our tap, and that's going to go into this fresh water hose. I'll do this one first and then I'll get under the van and get messy. So amidst all this mess, utter chaos and things I'm struggling with today, we're going to try and fit the curtain rail. So that's going to sit behind the top of the arch here, and all I've done is just taken a normal wooden curtain rail, I think it's from B&Q, cut it down to the right length, we've painted it white, and then the original holders had like an extended bit coming off the end here. I've just cut those down so we can get it fitting nice and close to the arch.
Yeah, I don't know why it was so big.
Houses are big.
It's true.
Does look really nice. The colour's perfect. The only thing that's Sarah's big gripe is that you can just see the bar there. That's awesome though. The idea of 2 curtains is really nice. So at some point we need to get a smaller bar for there that is hidden.
That's okay for now.
That's, yeah. For now, we've got a curtain in. I now need to crack on with the rest of my horrid jobs today that nothing's going well for me. Nothing.
I'm happy with this though, I think that was fantastic.
This is the hose that's currently running from our accumulator, and then this end's supposed to fit onto the tap, but the tap has got, well, the tap came with this, that fits on the bottom of the tap, and then I'm left with this end here, which obviously won't connect into this. I went to the shop and they gave me this and said maybe I can try and ram this in there and screw this in. And whilst I've been doing it, I've realised I think the thread is actually the same as that thread, just there. So I'm certain that I could go back to the shop tomorrow and buy one of these that's longer, that will go all the way from the accumulator to the tap and screw on both ends. I've been defeated by this too. Nothing is working today. I think we had like maybe 3 or 4 days of making loads of progress, just steaming ahead, no issues. And of course, it's today could have been the last day. We were literally thinking maybe we can go away today, but I'm just running into roadblock after roadblock. Trying to connect this pipe to this pipe, it's just not happening. So that, along with the sink, is just going to have to be a job to wait for tomorrow, and I'll just go to the shop and be like, what do I need to buy to make this fit to this? And hopefully there's something. I'm going to now, whilst I'm down here, I'm going to wire up this wire that goes up to the fuse box into our water pump, just onto the cables there, and I will probably drill a hole through the back of the fridge drawer for this wire to come in for the fridge power. But yeah, very frustrating day actually. Every job's just been way more difficult and frustrating than it needs to be. So I'm going to get this done and then go and fight the hob in the other van, see if I can take it apart and somehow make it work, and then replicate it over here if I can.